Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. The creature in the airlock. The red emergency lights flashed across the corridor, bathing the steel walls in intermittent bursts of warning. The shrill blare of the contamination alarm echoed through the halls of the exploration vessel, Odyssey Ark, but inside airlock 7, where the alarm had originated, there was a deeper silence, dense, electric, and unreal. Dr. Lena Hart stood frozen just outside the decontamination chamber, her breath caught somewhere between awe and disbelief. Her hazel eyes were locked on the figure in the chamber, a figure unlike anything she'd seen in her 10-year career, surveying uncharted exoplanets. It was small, no taller than a child, though unmistakably not a child. Its skin shimmered faintly, almost translucent, like a thin layer of pearlescent glass stretched over delicate bones. Limbs curled tightly into itself. The being trembled in the center of the sealed chamber. Its massive, reflective eyes blinked rapidly, the pupils expanding and shrinking like camera lenses, struggling to adjust to the ship's artificial light. It was terrified. Lena's heart pounded. Her fingers hovered near the access pad beside the door, where the protocols glared at her in red. Unknown biological entity detected decontamination, incomplete, quarantine required, no movement, no contact, no exceptions. Her mind scrambled to match the data. No crew member had reported anything alive on the planetary surface. The scans hadn't picked up heat signatures. The atmosphere had registered as sterile. And yet here it was shaking, whispering softly in a language that sounded like vibrating chimes underwater. Suddenly, the creature locked eyes with her and shrieked. The sound pierced through the chamber, walls high-pitched and raw, like metal tearing. It backed into the corner, its thin limbs flailing, and began to beat its tiny fists against the transparent barrier. Not violently, desperately. Lena took an instinctive step back. Jesus, she breathed. You're scared out of your mind. The intercom beside her buzzed. Captain Ree's voice came through, sharp and steady. Dr. Hart, report. We've got a quarantine alert on Deck 3. Lena glanced at the camera. She knew the captain would be seeing her now, standing too close to a potentially lethal unknown. Her mind raced. She tapped the intercom. Sir, we've got a life form in the airlock. Small, non-aggressive. It came through during the last shuttle cycle from the surface. I think it hid inside the cargo bay. A pause. Contain it. Do not engage. I'm dispatching security now. No. The word came out before she could stop it. Another pause. Longer this time. Repeat that, doctor. She fumbled for the right explanation, her voice dropping. It's not hostile. It's terrified. If security storms in, it'll panic, and we don't know what kind of defense mechanisms it has. The chamber lights flickered briefly. Inside, the creature had curled back into a ball. Its skin pulsed faintly with soft hues, lavender, then blue, almost like it was reacting to Lena's tone. She took a breath and leaned down, close to the glass. Hey, it's okay. No one's going to hurt you. The alien flinched, then slowly, hesitantly, turned its head toward her. She touched the glass gently. I'm not going to hurt you. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the creature mirrored her gesture. Tiny, trembling fingers pressed against the glass opposite her hand, and in a voice cracked and strained, it whispered a single, haunting word in perfect English: help. 10 minutes later, Lena was alone in the ship's medbay, the chamber on emergency lockdown. The alien now sat, wrapped in a silver emergency blanket, on a biobed. It looked even smaller without the bulky equipment it had discarded, a harness with what seemed like organic tech fused into it. The components were unlike anything human science had produced. They seemed to breathe and ripple, responding to the alien's mood. Lena watched it silently from across the room, taking careful notes. Your vocal cords aren't even close to human, she murmured. That word, how did you say it? The alien tilted its head. Its skin flashed pale pink, like a soft blush. Tentative, learned, it said, its voice shaky but audible. Long time, listen, years. Lena blinked. You've been listening to humans. The alien nodded, slowly. Signal, from dark sky. Learned words, watched, images, radio transmissions, Lena said under her breath. Old Earth broadcasts. She moved to the console. The alien flinched at the motion, and she pausedly didn't see her hands, keeping calm. I'm going to check the signal logs. It's okay. The console flickered on. A few swipes later, Lena had the answer. A repeating, Low-band carrier wave had been pinging the ship since Orbit 1 that no one had noticed because it had been mimicking background cosmic noise. The frequency matched old Earth radio formats from over 100 years ago. She turned back toward the creature. You sent us a fake noise signal so we wouldn't hear it. The alien nodded again, looking down. Why? Not safe, it murmured. They listened to. Lena narrowed her eyes. Faye the alien didn't answer. Instead, its skin rippled darker, like clouds moving under skin. Fear. Security had been kept at bay for now. Lena had insisted on running full analysis and insisted the creature be treated as a scientific discovery, not a threat. Captain Reese had reluctantly agreed. But the pressure from command was building. She didn't care. She needed to know what this being was. That night ship's time. At least she stayed in the lab, watching it sleep. It curled up tightly. The emergency blanket pulled around it like armor. She felt something twist in her chest, that it looked so young, so fragile, so, familiar, she whispered to herself. What were you running from? The next morning, Lena approached the alien with something new, a tiny touchscreen slate with an old Earth film queued up, the Iron Giant. No language, just pictures. The alien watched in silence, at first, stiff and guarded, but then, halfway through, something shifted. It smiled. She smiled back. When it ended, it pointed to the screen and said, like that, I thought, you eat me, but you fix, you good. Lena's throat tightened. Why would you think we eat you? The alien paused, then slowly reached out and tapped a symbol on its harness. The device flickered on, projected an image in the air. It was a human skeleton. Skulls, charred fields, Earth flags embedded in alien soil. Lena froze. Where did you get this? The alien hesitated. Legends, past, long time, whispered, from world to world. Danger, from blue. World, dangerous species, always hungry. No peace, no home. Lena sat down heavily in the chair. You think humans are monsters? The alien said nothing, but its silence said enough. Suddenly, the lights in the medbay dimmed. The intercom crackled. Dr. Hart, you're needed on the bridge. Now. Lena frowned. What's going on? Just get up here. She turned to the alien, then to the camera in the room. Stay calm. I'll be right back. On the bridge. Captain Ree's face was pale. The screen showed the surface of the planet beneath them, zoomed in on a newly discovered ruin, partially buried under layers of ash and rock. Except now, it wasn't dormant, it was glowing, pulsing, and from its surface, something had begun transmitting, not just to the ship, but off-world into deep space. Reese turned to Lena, voice low. Your little friend just triggered a beacon. We don't know who it's calling, but if those legends it remembers are true, we might not be the only ones listening. The language of fear. The room was dim, backlit by the soft hum of power-saving lights. Dr. Lena Hart stood in front of the holographic projection, staring at the stone-carved human face the alien had just shown her. The face was unmistakably human. Skull, forward-facing eyes, short nose, defined jaw but worn, eroded by time and weather. Beneath it, in a series of glowing glyphs she didn't recognize. The translation flickered again. Destroyer. The alien stood behind her now, quietly watching her reaction. Lena turned slowly, heart pounding. Where did you get this image? She asked. The alien shifted nervously. Memory, from my people, before the silence. The silence. It looked away. All voices, gone. Long ago. Many stars. One remains you. A slow nod. Lena swallowed hard, then sat down in the chair beside the console, her mind racing. It was nearly impossible. This ship was the first human expedition to this sector officially anyway. The ruin on the planet was assumed to be the relic of some extinct alien civilization. But this image, this face, if it was real, it meant humanity had been here before. She turned to the creature. How do you know about us? Earth. Our language. The alien took a deep breath, at least, something like a breath, and said, heard, echoes, old signals, floating, years, centuries. We listened, we learned. Then, others listened to others. Its skin darkened, like storm clouds rolling across glass. They found us, machines, with old voices. Not yours, but like yours. Ancient words, demands, no mercy. Lena leaned in. What did they do to your people? Erased them, one by one, until only shadows. Then they waited. A shiver ran down Lena's spine. Waited, for us. The alien's large, liquid eyes blinked slowly. Yes, Captain Reese was not pleased. You kept this thing in quarantine against protocol. You've withheld information from command, disobeyed direct orders, and now you're telling me it's got knowledge of a lost human civilization no one remembers. Lena stood her ground in the ship's briefing room, hands behind her back. I'm saying this person has information that changes our entire understanding of human history. It could be lying. It's terrified of us, Reese. Everything it's done, hiding, communicating, watching old transmissions was out of fear. The captain rubbed his temples. That ruined it. It's emitting pulses strong enough to be picked up 5 systems out. Command's already flagged it as a class for Xeno alert. They're preparing to launch deep scans and send backup. You think we'll get the chance to play anthropologists once the military steps in? Lena leaned forward. Then let me get answers before they do. If there's any truth in what it's saying, then this isn't just first contact, it's second contact with the first forgotten species we ever met. We owe it more than silence and weapons. Reese studied her for a moment. Then he exhaled. You've got 24 hours. Then I'm notifying the orbit command. Back in the lab, Lena entered carrying a tray, water, some fresh nutrient paste, and a slate with dozens of language symbols from known galactic origins. The alien who had not volunteered a name watched her with quiet curiosity. I want to understand you, Lena said gently, properly, not just a few shared words. It tilted its head. You are patient. I want the truth, not fear. It hesitated, then moved toward the slate. It tapped a few of the alien symbols and pointed to itself. The translation rendered roughly, lastborn of Seraph. Seraph, is that your species, or your world? Both, it said. Lena knelt slightly to be at its eye level. Can I call you Seraph until you share another name? The alien blinked, then nodded. Seraph, she repeated softly. Can you help me understand what happened to your people? Seraph tapped the projection again, and this time, it played a slow, haunting series of holographic images, memories encoded in its tech, likely through some kind of organic interface. The first image was of a vibrant world, glowing seas, spires of crystal reaching into golden skies. Seraph's people, smaller than humans, but agile, brilliant-eyed and peaceful-looking, walked among fields of light and wind. The second image darkened. Strange, oblong ships, clearly not Seraphist. At first, contact seemed peaceful. Then came the machines, hulking, bipedal constructs, smooth, dark surfaces, red optics. They bore symbols Lena couldn't read until one flickered with a familiar shape. A United Terran Federation flag. Lena gasped. The machines overwhelmed the cities. Seraph's people tried to flee, but the sky turned red, then silence. Why would humans do this? She whispered. Seraph looked at her. Not you, long before, forgotten selves. Lena realized what it meant. These weren't recent humans. They were ancient explorers before recorded history, pre-Full Era, before Earth's first societal collapse, when records had been wiped during the old tech wars. Some of humanity's earliest deep space missions had gone off the books, vanished. Maybe they hadn't vanished at all. Maybe they'd conquered, then hidden the truth. As the hours passed, Lena gathered everything she could. She took samples of Seraph's tech carefully, non-invasively. The harness responded to its emotions, changing texture and color like camouflage. It also seemed to regulate its biology, heat, oxygen, even language translation. Meanwhile, the ship's AI picked up a strange anomaly. The beacon Seraph had triggered had stopped broadcasting, and in its place, a new signal had begun, focused, encoded, and aimed at a nearby moon's surface. That moon was lifeless, had no atmosphere, but now, it had power readings. Captain Reese stormed into the lab. What did it do, Lena? Why is there a signal coming from the moon? Lena looked at Seraph. Did you do this? Seraph's skin flushed gray, troubled. Not send, someone answered. What do you mean? Reese asked sharply. Seraph stood slowly. It walked to the projection panel, touched a few symbols, and this time showed a hologram of the moon, from beneath its surface. A door was opening. A machine, sleek, ancient, unmistakably human design, rose from the crater. Seraph pointed. They are still here. Panic spread through the Odyssey arc. Military AI protocols flagged the machine as pre-UTF War Tekka Class 0 relic, older than Earth's current government. It shouldn't have existed, but it did, and it was activating. Lena followed Seraph, to the observation deck. The aliens stood silently, gazing at the moon on the monitor. The machine was fully upright now, humanoid shape. 6 glowing eyes, hands like surgical tools. Those machines, Seraph said slowly, were not made to build. They were made to rewrite. Rewrite what? Thought, memory, identity. Lena remembered the strange distortions from earlier, the flashes of memories she didn't own. Seraph turned toward her. They erase what came before, even inside. That's why your people forgot. Lena stepped back, stunned. You mean, they used that tech on humans, too? Seraph nodded. To hide shame, bury it, so it never happened. Captain Reese, voice came over the comms. Lena, get Seraph to the medbay. We're preparing for possible evacuation. But Seraph didn't move. Instead, it placed a hand on Lena's and looked her in the eyes. You must remember, all of it, or they will return you to silence. What do I do? Seraph reached into its own chest harness and withdrew a glowing shard of organic metal. It pulsed with light like a heartbeat. Touch this. See, you must see what we saw. Lena hesitated. What will happen? You will remember everything your kind forgot. She reached forward. Her fingers touched the shard. Flash. She stood in a white field under a red sky. Hundreds of human voices chanted around her. Machines stood in formation. Seraph's people were on their knees. A human commander, tall and armored, pointed at the crowd and said, "No witnesses." Double quotes. Flash. She stood in a lab. Earth, but old. Crumbling maps. A wall of data scrolled. Eradicate memory. Begin a new cycle. Flash. She stood in space. Earth below. A satellite turned, beamed a final message. Operation Obsidian, complete. Then all light disappeared. Lena awoke on the floor of the lab, gasping. Seraph knelt beside her. She stared at it, eyes wide with horror. It's true, she whispered. All of it. Seraph touched her forehead gently. Now, you remember. Beneath the moon, the emergency lights flickered overhead as the Odyssey Ark's systems struggled to stabilize from the pulse sent by the ancient machine. Below decks, red status bars bloomed across every screen. Some terminals froze. Others rebooted, with symbols. No one recognized symbols that matched those Seraph had shown in the ruins. Dr. Lena Hart paced the central lab, her mind reeling from the memory visions Seraph had unlocked. For a few moments after she touched that shard, she had been another version of herself, one whose past was buried beneath layers of forgotten human history. A past that had watched, silently, as her own kind unleashed machines to cleanse alien life, and then turned those same machines inward to erase their guilt. They built them to forget, Lena murmured to herself, staring blankly into the half-lit corridor. But the machines remembered. Serapha, still weak from the memory, sat cross-legged on the floor, the bioluminescent lines along its limbs dimming. It is awake, it whispered. It has smelled the truth in you now. You said the signal was answered. Do you mean the machine on the moon? Or something worse? Seraph lifted its head slowly. That one is only a watcher. There are more, buried across many stars, like tombs, waiting to open. Lena's blood ran cold in the command bridge above. Captain Reese monitored the feed from the moon's surface. The machine over 4 meters tall was now fully activated. It stood in the crater like a god made of smooth black stone, its 6 glowing eyes rotating independently. Around it, dust rose in low gravity, forming perfect geometric patterns in the regolith. Fractal, alive. We've confirmed the structure is broadcasting on ultra-low frequencies, said Commander Alvarez from comms. It's attempting to handshake with our systems. Block it, Reese ordered. I don't want it interfacing with anything else on this ship. We already tried, Alvarez said, her voice shaky. It's not asking, it's demanding. The bridge dimmed. For a split second, the emergency lights flickered, and every screen went black. Then, a message appeared. Obsidian. Protocol reinitiated. Cycle. Contaminated. Source. Lena Hart. Begin purge. Reese froze. Get Hart to the bridge, now. Lena burst through the doors just as armed guards rushed to meet her. What's going on? She asked, breathless. You tell me, Reese snapped, pointing to the central screen. That thing down there just tagged you as a contamination threat. I'm not the threat, she shot back. We are. The entire history of what we did to Seraph's people, what we did to ourselves was hidden, buried. Those machines were made to enforce silence. Reese gestured to the guards. You triggered a protocol that predates our own history. You've connected with something no one understands, and now the ship is being targeted. I didn't trigger it. I remembered, and that's what they're afraid of." She turned to the screen. "The machine doesn't want truth. It wants obedience. Erased minds. No witnesses. Just like last time." Reese studied her, something between fear and belief flickering in his eyes. Then, without warning, the Odyssey arc shook hard. Everyone grabbed onto rails as a deep, groaning sound echoed through the hull. "What the hell was that?" Reese barked. Seraph's voice came through the open comm line. "It has found the memory vault." Beneath the moon's surface, something ancient stirred. Hidden beneath layers of stone and metal, a massive structure miles wide began unfolding like the petals of a clockwork flower. Slabs of obsidian-colored alloy moved aside, revealing an entry tunnel. It led down not just into the moon but into a machine city buried since time immemorial. The Watcher had activated the vault. Now it was waking the others. Seraph, still in the lab, slowly stood as Lena returned. "The vault holds the echoes," it said. "The parts of your people that choose silence over justice. Their knowledge, their crimes. Then we have to get there before it opens completely." Lena said, "We have to stop this from restarting." Reese came in behind her, holstering his sidearm. "You're not going down there alone." "I wasn't planning to," she replied. "But you better be ready for what we might find." Descent 3 hours later, Lena, Reese, Seraph, and a small team descended from the Odyssey Arc in a drop shuttle modified for lunar entry. As they crossed the surface of the moon, the shadows stretched unnaturally. Light bent in ways that defied physics near the vault's entrance, like reality itself was warping. Seraph warned them, "This place was built to erase. It can rewrite minds, rewrite matter." Inside the vault's mouth, the team moved carefully. The walls were smooth, lined with veins of soft blue light. A faint vibration passed through the floor, like a heartbeat. "Or breathing doesn't look like anything human ever made," said Lieutenant Chen, eyes wide. "Maybe not the humans we remember," Lena muttered. As they progressed deeper, the corridors began to split. Holograms flickered to life around them, shifting images of Earth, ships launching, faces speaking languages long dead. They passed a chamber where statues stood, figures of human commanders in pristine armor, arms raised in salute. Seraph stared at them, trembling. "They called themselves Redeemers," it whispered, "but they were destroyers. They came with gifts and left only ruin." Lena looked at the statues. Each had a plaque in old Terran glyphs. One of them bore her face. She staggered back. "That's impossible." "It remembers," Seraph said, "even if you do not." The Chamber of Memory, at the heart of the vault, was a massive circular room. In the center stood a spire of light, beaming data upward, millions of fragments of memory, history, names, images. It was a living archive of everything humanity had purged from its collective past. A low voice greeted them as they entered. "Welcome, Lena Hart." It echoed in their minds, not through sound, but recognition. "Cycle, incomplete. Truth corrupted. Beginning restoration of classified stream." The spire flashed suddenly. Everyone was frozen. One by one, they began to remember. Reese clutched his head, visions seizing him. He was standing on another world, centuries ago, watching alien cities burn, signing orders, deleting files. Chen saw himself piloting a ship not unlike the Odyssey, but marked with a different flag, one lost in history. Lena fell to her knees, weeping. In her mind's eye, she saw herself, or someone who looked like her, sitting in a command chair, authorizing memory erasure protocols. No witnesses. Her own voice had said. The machine in the vault was restoring true human history, and Seraph watched it all in silence, because for the first time in 1,000 years, someone else finally understood what had been done. Cliffhanger, end of part 3. As Lena stood, shaking, the spire's light suddenly changed, turning red. Unauthorized. Consciousness detected. Vessel Seraph, initiate purge. A hidden panel in the chamber wall slid open. Out of it stepped a humanoid machine, sleek, silent, deadly. It locked eyes with say RAF. Lena screamed, nitrogen monoxide, but the purge had begun, and the vault wasn't finished with its secrets. The purge air in the vault trembled like it was alive. From the glowing walls, vents opened. Cold gas hissed outward in spiraling plumes. The machine that stepped through the panel wasn't just a relic, it was a sentry built for a singular purpose: eliminate contamination. And right now, That means say RAF. It stood nearly 2 meters tall, smooth and jointless, its silver-black plating shifting subtly like a liquid alloy. Its eyes, a horizontal slit of violet energy, locked onto Seraph. No weapon was visible, but Lena's gut screamed danger. Unauthorized biological construct detected, came the synthetic voice. Species, Seraphim Prime. Class, BioWare. Status, purged. Reinstate extinction protocol, CYCLEO. Then it moved fast. SARAF leaped back, its delicate form twisting through the air. The machine extended a razor-thin blade from its wrist, slicing the floor where Seraph had just stood. The slab cracked apart like ice. Lena grabbed Reese and shouted, "We have to stop it." He was already unholstering his plasma sidearm, shouting to his team, "Suppressive fire. Now." But when Alvarez and Chen opened up with ion blasts, the sentry bent light around itself. The beams passed through where it was an instant before. Not teleportation prediction. It wasn't just reacting. It was thinking ahead. "It's reading our moves," Chen said. "It's not just AI, it's advanced." "Then we change the script," Lena snapped. She sprinted towards Seraph, who had ducked behind a fallen stone pillar, breathing heavily. "I can't run forever," Seraph said, trembling. "It won't stop. It knows what I am." Lena crouched beside them. "Then we'll make it forget." The living archive above them, the memory spire, pulsed violently. The data stream, which once flowed calmly upward like a glowing river, now whipped like a storm, fragments of history, spilling into the air as images, a human warship hovering over a Seraphim city, preparing to erase it. Children of both species playing together before the betrayal. A council of humans, arguing, one voice, Lena's ancestor, demanding memory purges. The truth wasn't just being revealed, it was being broadcast. "We're triggering a cascade," Lena said. "This machine wasn't just guarding history, it was keeping it locked away. Now we've forced it into a defensive purge. We need to shut it down," Reese said, ducking behind a pillar as the sentry fired a pulse that shattered stone. Stood up slowly. "There's a core at the base of the spire. If we reach it, I might be able to override the purge commands." But Lena didn't hesitate. "Then we move. Now." The descent. The team pushed forward, dodging the sentry's strikes, ducking through a collapsing hallway as gravity began to shift. Inside the vault, physics were bending. Time felt slower. Space stretched and curved. The environment wasn't just mechanical, it was responsive. "It's turning the vault into a maze," Alvarez said, struggling to orient herself. "These corridors weren't here 10 seconds ago." "It's defending itself," Seraph whispered, like a living organism protecting its memories. As they moved deeper, Lena could feel the weight of those memories pressing against her mind, faces she didn't know but somehow recognized. Orders she never gave but remembered giving. The past was bleeding into the present. "You feel it too?" Reese asked quietly. Lena nodded. "It's trying to make us understand. Before it destroys us." They reached the core chamber. A towering column of crystallized memory circuits spun slowly, casting a cool blue glow across the chamber. Suspended in the center was the heart, a glowing orb the size of a basketball, vibrating with life and data. Seraph approached it carefully. "I need to interface, but I'll be vulnerable." "You'll have cover," Lena said firmly. "We'll protect you." But as Seraph raised its hands, the floor behind them split open and the sentry returned, this time accompanied by 2 more just like it. Cycle O reinforcement, online. "Oh, come on," Chen yelled. Alvarez screamed, fall back, fall back." Reese stood his ground. "We can't retreat." "Lena, with me. We hold them here." Lena pulled her own sidearm, aiming at the first sentry as Seraph touched the heart. Interfist. Seraph's fingers connected to the orb. Light surged through its limbs, brighter than ever before. Its eyes rolled back. Its voice became layered, like multiple versions of itself were speaking at once. Accessing core protocol. Requesting reclassification of target, Seraphim Prime. Submitting historic memory evidence cycles, 14 to 47. Petitioning repeal of extinction directive. The sentry's advanced. Reese fired a full ion burst. One sentry staggered but didn't fall. The second moved behind Lena, blade raised. A flash, then a scream. Chen dove in, taking the hit across his arm. He collapsed in pain. Lena fired into the sentry's optics. Sparks flew. It froze, then reconfigured. "They don't stop," she yelled. "Even damaged, they adapt." Then Seraph's voice shifted. It wasn't pleading anymore. It was commanding. Core override accepted. Rewriting purge protocols. Reclassifying BioWare construct as legacy survivor. Free will authorization granted. The heart pulsed like a sun. The chamber shook violently. The sentries froze mid-strack, then, one by one, their eyes dimmed, the blades retracted. They lowered their arms, then collapsed. Lena lowered her gun, stunned. What just happened? Seraph turned, glowing brighter than ever. I made them remember too. Revelations with the purge stopped. The vault began stabilizing. The blue lights returned to a steady hum. The spire no longer pulsed erratically. Holograms coalesced, clearer now, showing both the horrors of the past and moments of youth. But real. Lena sat beside Seraph, catching her breath. You risked everything, she said softly. Why? Seraph looked up at her. Because you believed me when I was small, afraid, and thought you would eat me. Lena laughed weakly. That was a long time ago. Seraph tilted its head. Not to me. Reese sat down across from them, bruised, blood on his arm. We saw what they erased, and what we almost became again. He turned to Lena. This changes everything. Lena nodded. We can't just bury this. Not again. The warning back aboard the Odyssey Ark. Systems were returning to normal. Data poured in from the vault, now fully decrypted. Alvarez called the bridge team together. There's more, she said. From the signal logs. That burst from the Watcher wasn't just local. Reese looked up sharply. What do you mean? I mean, it sent the truth across the stars. Not just to us, but to others. She tapped the console. A map of distant systems appeared. Each one now active, lit in red. Vaults, Lena whispered. Like this one. And Watchers, Alvarez added, many of them, all waking up. Are they hostile? Reese asked. I don't know, she said. But some are moving. Something out there is responding to the truth. A long silence fell. Then a new alert blinked. Incoming message. Deep space. Origin. Unknown. Content. Remember us. The pact forgotten. Lena stared at the flickering screen in stunned silence. Lena. The voice was mechanical, but eerily human. The face fractured and flickering resembled no known species. Its features were both angular and smooth, organic and artificial, as if someone had sculpted a memory from light and metal. Its eyes, however, were unmistakable, human-shaped, but older, ancient. Is that another referee asked, stepping beside her. Seraph stood still, trembling slightly. No, that is a harbinger. Lena turned. What's a harbinger? Seraph's eyes dimmed. The architects of the vaults, the ones who came before even the seraphim. They were not born. They were forged by forgotten creators, long dead. The harbingers were memory keepers and judgment bearers. Chen, still bandaged from the last battle, whispered, so why is one speaking your name? Lena didn't have an answer, but she had a feeling deep in her bones that this wasn't random. The legacy coders later. Back aboard the Odyssey Ark, Lena sat in the medbay, alone. Or she thought she was. Seraph entered quietly, a flicker of golden light trailing in its path. I accessed more files, Seraph said, from the heart. Some were locked behind genetic markers. Yours? Lena looked up sharply. Mine? You mean my DNA? Seraph nodded. You are a descendant of one of the original human architects who helped design the purge protocols. They didn't just erase Seraphim from history. They signed a covenant with the harbingers, a pact. Lena's throat felt dry. What kind of pact? Seraph turned its eyes toward her, soft, mournful. When the truth was too dangerous to remember, your ancestors promised to never awaken it again. Reese slammed his fist on the command table. That's impossible. We would have known. There's no record of any of that. Of course there isn't, Lena said coldly. They buried it, deep, not just in history but in blood. Alvarez pulled up a file Seraph had decrypted labeled Echo Protocol _01. It was a contract, an agreement, signed in ancient Earth dialect. The terms were clear. Should any member of the bloodline break the seals, the harbingers shall awaken, memory shall return, judgment shall begin. Chen leaned back, stunned. So, by unlocking the vault, we triggered it. Lena's hands trembled. I triggered it. Reese shook his head. We did what was right. We uncovered genocide. The world deserves to know. But Alvarez wasn't so sure. Maybe the harbingers don't care about right and wrong. Maybe they care about balance. We tipped the scale, and now something was tipping it back. The awakening alarms sounded. The ship shuddered as a spatial anomaly formed just beyond the asteroid field where the vault had been. Everyone rushed to the bridge. A massive gate like a ring of impossible geometry was forming in orbit. It wasn't being built. It was arriving. "That's not a ship," Reese said. "That's a harbinger conduit," Seraph replied. "A path between dimensions. Memory space." Out of the void came 3 figures, tall, metallic, shimmering with stardust and silence. The harbingers, they did not speak through mouths. Instead, a wave of thought rippled across the bridge, felt rather than heard. "One of the lines has broken the seal. The pact is void. Rebalance will commence." "Wait," Lena shouted. "Let us speak. Let us explain." "There is nothing to explain. There is only remembering." Then, the conduit pulsed again and vanished, leaving behind a signal spike spreading across the entire quadrant. "What are they doing?" Reese asked. Alvarez stared at the data. "They're waking up other vaults. Every lost memory, every erased truth. They're activating them all." Flood of truth within hours. Planets across the sector began reporting strange anomalies. Ancient ruins activating beneath cities. Populations experiencing shared visions, memories of lives they never lived. Machines waking up and playing messages from tens of thousands of years ago. History wasn't just returning, it was bleeding into the present. Seraph sat alone in the observation deck, staring into the void. Lena joined them. "You knew this could happen, didn't you?" she asked gently. Seraph nodded. "But I didn't think it would be you." Lena sat beside her. "I'm not just some descendant of a long-dead traitor. I'm trying to fix this." "You already did," Seraph whispered. "But some things don't want to be fixed. They want to be remembered as they were." Lena exhaled, deep and heavy. "Then I'll remember. But I won't let the past destroy the future." Seraph looked at her for a long moment, then said, "Then you'll need to finish what your bloodline started." The other vault, Seraph had seen it in the heart's vision, a second vault, one is older, one forgotten even by the harbingers. It held the first memory, the original record of the universe, before any species rose to power. If they could reach it, they could rewrite the balance, not with violence, but by inserting a new memory into the stream, a truth that unified rather than judged. But it was located in a no-man's zone, unexplored, uncharted, and rumored cursed. "The Phantom Sector," Reese muttered. "We'd be flying blind." Lena's jaw tightened. "Then we light the way ourselves." They began prepping the Odyssey Ark for long-range slipspace travel. Seraph, however, hesitated. "I may not survive the memory pressure there. That vault, it's not like the others. It predates even my kind." Lena looked at them, unwavering. "Then I'll carry your memory to..." The betrayal just as the ship was preparing to launch. Chen burst onto the bridge, eyes wide. "We've got a problem." He played a hacked transmission from Earth High Command. "Vessel Odyssey Ark is to return to Earth immediately. Data concerning harbingers is classified level Omega. Engaging with further vaults is prohibited under the Echo Treaty. Failure to comply will be met with force." Everyone fell silent. Reese broke it. "What the hell is the Echo Treaty?" Lena looked pale. "The other half of the pact. The humans didn't just promise to forget, they encoded enforcement into our law, into our military. This whole time, we were programmed to deny the truth," Alvarez said quietly. "They're going to stop us. Then we don't give them the chance." Lena said, "We launch now." But as they started powering up engines, the fleet arrived. 10 battleships, humans, and their weapons were already locked. The first memory, the stars, had gone silent. The enemy fleet held formation like a wall of steel and silence, a shimmering armada between the Odyssey Ark and the Harbinger conduit. At the same time, something older than the Harbingers stirred beyond it. Lena stared into the void. "What is that?" Even Seraph seemed unsure. "It's not a being. It's not a weapon." "Then what is it?" "A question," Seraph whispered, asked before language was born, a truth that never had words. A low hum rose, not from speakers, not from any console, but from within their skulls, like a memory waking up that didn't belong to them. Before stars, before breath, there was first thought. And first thought was alone. Lena's knees weakened. Reese reached out, steadying her. "It's inside my head." "Is this telepathy?" "No," Seraph said. "This is memory resonance. It's not speaking to you. It's remembering through you." And suddenly, everything changed. The memory field, a flash of white, engulfed them. Not light. The crew of the Odyssey Ark found themselves standing not on a bridge, But in a formless space where time shimmered like smoke, Seraph's body flickered beside Lena. Not quite stable here. We're inside the first vault. They turned. Before them stood a single monument, simple, black stone. Floating just above it, a golden seed, pulsing gently with light. This is it, Seraph said. The memory core. It holds the origin of truth. If we activate it, Lena stepped forward, we can rewrite the narrative, not with lies but with the whole truth. But the Harbinger's voice returned. Truth is weight. Truth is pain. You seek to heal with fire. You will burn what remains. A new figure stepped into the mist. Not a god. Not a monster. Her mother Lena froze. But this wasn't a ghost. It was a memory. One she hadn't recalled in years. Sitting on a rooftop, stargazing. Her mother's voice warm and calm. Always question what people tell you to forget. Lena, if they want it buried, it probably matters. Tears welled in Lena's eyes. This is what they wanted us to lose. The quiet truths. The choice. The memory core pulsed. A panel appeared before Lena live, almost organic. One touch, and it would broadcast the unfiltered truth across the galaxy. Every lie unmade. Every cover-up was revealed. Not just about the Seraphim, but every suppressed history. Every manipulated event. Every forgotten horror and beauty. Reese appeared beside her. Are you sure about this? He asked. No, she whispered. But we can't go back. Alvarez's voice came from behind. If you do this, Earth's going to see it as an attack. It'll cause chaos. Collapse. Lena looked at Seraph. What happens if I don't? Seraph's face dimmed. Then the Harbingers will enact rebalance. They will erase, not one species, all of them, back to silence. Lena turned to Reese. Then there's only one way forward. She reached for the core. It flickered. And then, everything went wrong. The interference and explosion rocked the Odyssey. Arc. The vision shattered. Everyone was back aboard the ship, systems failing. Sirens blaring. Reese shouted. We're under attack. The human fleet had opened fire. They're targeting the vault. Alvarez yelled. Lena stumbled to the command deck. They're going to destroy it. No, Seraph cried. If they hit the core while it's semi-activated, it won't just shut down, it'll cause a memory implosion. What does that mean? Chen asked. It means, Seraph's voice cracked, we all forget everything. Everyone, everywhere. Lena snapped into action. We can't let that happen. Then, we need to get to the vault manually, Reese said. Enter. Finish the activation before they destroy it. And if we fail, then we die remembering the truth. Reese said. Lena looked at her crew. All nodded. No hesitation. Let's go. Into the core. The Odyssey arc punched toward the vault at full burn. Shields failing as fire rained down. They docked just barely and boarded the vault interior. It was a labyrinth of light and gravity corridors that folded over each other, stairways that led nowhere and everywhere. The closer they got to the center, the heavier their bodies felt, not physically, but emotionally, as if the air was soaked in every sorrow of every soul. Lena collapsed once, chest heaving. Seraph lifted her gently. You're carrying more than your memories now. The core is merging them. Finally, they reached the heart chamber. There it stood, the core, now glowing with unstable brilliance. Fractures spider-webbing across its surface. 0.90 seconds, until full destabilization. They had one shot. The sacrifice. Lena reached toward the interface. It refused her touch, rejecting her DNA, now destabilized by the Harbinger's interference. It's not reading me. Reese rushed forward. Then use me. Seraph stepped in front of him. No, use me. I'm a memory construct. I am what it's built to accept. But you'll die, Lena said. Seraph smiled faintly. I already have. This being hero was just a borrowed breath. It's time I gave it back. Lena reached out, took Seraph's hand. Seraph placed their palm on the core. The world slowed. Truth is not vengeance. Truth is not control. Truth is love remembered. And with that, Seraph dissolved into light, pulled into the core. It activated. The broadcast across the galaxy. Every screen flickered. Children looked up from their tablets. Soldiers froze in bunkers. Pilots blinked in their cockpits. And then, they saw the betrayal of the Seraphim. The blood pact of Earth's leadership. The silencing of entire species. And the peace that could have been but was stolen. It wasn't shown as news. It was felt rapidly in their minds. Raw. Unfiltered. And it changed them. Aftermath. The Harbingers vanished. The conduit collapsed. The first vault closed permanently. On Earth, panic gave way to protest. Then, to reflect. Then, to rebuild. Lena stood before a council months later, not on trial, but as a witness. She spoke simply. The truth didn't break us. The lies did. The council disbanded. The old leadership. An interspecies alliance was formed at this time, not based on power, but shared memory. The Seraphim were granted citizenship. Vault technology was locked away, not hidden, but protected with oversight from multiple races. And Reese, he became Earth's ambassador to the new Galactic Senate. Final scene. The garden years later. A small alien child miniature like Seraph once was run through a garden on a human colony world. Laughing. Flowers bloomed where he stepped, DNA integrated. Flora from Seraphim homeworlds. Lena sat on a bench, older now, watching. A hologram flickered beside her. Seraph's last recorded memory. A simple smile. She pressed a button. Play it again, she whispered. The memory played. Seraph's first confused words aboard the Odyssey Ark. Terrified, thinking she'd be eaten. And then, the smile, the hope, the beginning. Final words. Sometimes, the smallest ones hold the greatest truths. And remembering them is what makes us human. The end.